What if you could paint furniture without sanding, priming, or top coating the paint? That's what Beyond Paint claims to do, but we're going to test it and see if it's true with this makeover. We bought this old sewing desk from the thrift store for $25. I won't lie, I wasn't thrilled with this style, but I love an easy flip. This one had a sewing machine in it, so I tested it out and sure enough it worked, but I have no use for it, so I got rid of it. I also unscrewed the drawer pull and got rid of the storage inside of the door. Then I gave it a good cleaning with some crud cutter and an old damp rag. I don't know if you can see in the video, but it was so gross on the inside. Whoever had this table must have used it a lot over the years. And then I moved on to the paint. I mixed it up. Holy cow, it's thick. Then I poured it into a paint tray and I used a 3/8 inch roller to roll it on. That's what Beyond Paint recommends. So this paint claims that you don't need to sand or prime before you paint on a variety of surfaces, including slick laminate or even tile. So it's supposed to have excellent bonding properties. We'll see about that. It also claims that you don't need to top coat it. If you need to get into tight spaces, they say to stipple the paintbrush so it doesn't leave brush marks. But they do come right out and say that there will be slight texture left behind. I like their honesty. Here's what the paint looked like after I rolled it on while it was still wet. And here's what it looked like after it was dry. Yep, there's definitely texture, but nothing worse than most paints when they're rolled on. About 3 hours after I painted the first coat, I scratched at the paint and I couldn't really get any paint to scratch off. Maybe like a teeny tiny little speck? That's pretty awesome. I let it dry the recommended 2 hours between coats, and I ended up sanding with 220 grit sandpaper between coats because I had some paint globs and uneven texture on the edges. Then I painted the second coat. This paint definitely needed 2 coats to get full coverage. I planned to paint the entire table, but after I painted the top, I thought it might look cool with some light wood legs. So I sanded off the old finish on the legs, and then I mixed up some whitewash, probably 1 part Fusion Mineral paints, Algonquin, I have no idea how to say that, with 2 parts water. I brushed it on and then wiped off the excess. And then for some added fun, I put this floral transfer onto the inside of the door. Oh, and for the hardware, I cleaned it, and then I painted it with some Beyond Paint as well, so we could test it out on the metal. So here's what the desk looked like before, and here's what it looks like now. I love it so much. Where can I put this in my house? I need to find a spot. It's nothing like I envisioned it would be before I started, and that's totally okay. What do you think of the new look, though? Real quick, here's my review of Beyond Paint. Durability-wise, on finished wood, it sticks well, even when scratching at it within a day or 2. It didn't scratch off the metal pool either. As far as the look, I'm not really a fan of the textured finish, but it's not that bad either. I have seen way worse with similar paint. I brushed it onto some other wood, and the brush marks left behind were about the same that I would expect with chalk paint. So that's really not that bad either, especially if you're just beginning to paint and you don't care about brush marks. I do love how easy it was to use. No sanding, priming, or sealing afterwards. I would still prime before using a light color of Beyond Paint though, just to make sure there aren't any bleed through issues. But if you don't have to sand, you're less likely to have those stains come through. As far as the finish goes, the finish is a matte eggshell sheen, and I can tell because it collects dust like no one's business. So even though you don't have to top coat it, if you want it to look clean, you might want to top coat it. I think that I will top coat it, or else the dustiness of it will drive me crazy. Have you used this paint, or do you want to? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to see more furniture makeovers. Want to turn your hobby into cash? Click the link in my comments to download the free pricing guide that we use to buy and sell furniture.